Good evening and welcome to the Dusty Feet. We have something very special tonight, and a first for me. We have not recorded a video yet. We've only done live. And so this is a mixture of both. We're actually doing this live. You're just not here when we're doing it. We've done it live, and then we'll post it now when you're watching it. I have the opportunity to have Reinhardt and Mandie Buhr on the show. I've talked about it that I've been excited to have a surprise. This is my surprise. So along with our Joyful Noise series, we'll have Reinhardt and Mandie. So that said, let's get through the usual stuff. Don't forget to click subscribe, hit the bell if you want to be reminded. All the other information we have is on TheDustyFeet.com, past videos, updates on what's coming on, including this video, which will be on there, which is really cool. So, like I said, tonight, Reinhardt Buhr, Mandie. Mandie will be in for a bit, then she's going to duck out because life, welcome to life and being tired and all that stuff that is fun with that. So, and as always, on the Dusty Feet, this is a place where we can safely explore the endless ways of God and interconnection of His creation, where belief understandings may be challenged, divine misunderstandings may exist, and traditional teachings might falter as we pursue connection, context, and community with God and each other here in an environment of grace and love. So here we go tonight on the Dusty Feet. And here they are.
Hello.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Hi.
Reinhardt and Mandie. So, you're here. Brilliant. Great. So, Mandie, since you've got the short stick and you'll be jotting out, what I want to get a little bit is, one, who you are. Two, how you met. It's kind of fun to hear the female perspective on how they met. Always is. And then obviously God is very important in your lives, and what that means to you. So Mandie, let's start with you, and then we'll get to him.
Yeah. So the first question: who am I? Obviously, my name's Mandie Buhr, married to, I believe, the most amazing husband in the world. And apart from being a wife and the back operations manager and everything that happens here, I am still figuring out who I am. I used to be unsaved and very broken and on a very destructive road. And obviously with all of that, I never really had identity. And with being saved and walking this road with God and with Jesus, I am learning every day who I am. And it's an amazing journey. And so still figuring it out, but loving the journey. And so the next point was,
How did we
meet? So I had friends who came from the same town as where Reinhardt started his music. It's about 5 hours from Cape Town. And then they gave me the CD and they said, listen to this guy. His music's pretty cool and he creates everything live, and you can check out his YouTube channel and all of that. And I really loved the music. And I was listening to it in my car for about 2 weeks. And then another friend of mine, not the one who gave me the CD, actually told me that there's this guy playing at Cape to Cuba, which was like a local restaurant. And she said, won't you come out and join us for the show? And I was really excited because I just 2 weeks prior to that found the CD, and I was very tired that day. And I was thinking should I go? Should I stay? But I was excited, so I went. And then we didn't really speak that day. We had a very awkward conversation outside, waiting in a line, in a queue, and he just basically asked me if I was from the area, and I said yes, that I was, and kind of ended there, I think.
It was short and awkward.
Short and awkward. There you go. Typical.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he knew my friend, the one that invited me there. So he actually knew two of my friends. And so I went home shortly after that. And the next day, he asked my friend if he could have my number. And she sent me a message and said, hey, Reinhardt's asking for your number. Can I give it to him? And I was like, sure, you can. And then, yeah, Reinhardt messaged me and he took me out on a date. And yeah, that's how it started.
The rest is history. Yeah.
It was a rocky road while we were still unsaved, obviously.
Yeah.
But then, Jesus just came in and wrecked us. And yeah, from there, it's just been so amazing.
Yeah.
And it just gets better every day.
That's brilliant. It's that broken journey. The fact that I'm with you, okay, and I'm old, right? I'm going to be 60 this year, and that
wow,
whole
you don't look that old.
Oh, thank you. But that identity thing is so big, and trying to figure out who we are in multiple levels, who we are to God, who we are to our community, right? And how those all work together. So, and then we're attached to this other, right? You're attached to him. And so now that's another identity of one, God has that marriage one thing, right? So, which is great. And then you are, like I said, the background, you're the camera for the majority of his stuff, I know. And you have quite an eye. That's it's
Thank you.
Yeah, it's something. It's a complimenting piece. You almost, you don't wonder, because you know what God does with this. He says, I can put these two together and they will do miraculous things if they listen to me and stay connected to me. Then what can happen is boundless only by him and time and breath, and what we do. So I'm
awesome.
Ecstatic for you and the two of you. So, cool. What else? Was there anything else in particular? I think that's it.
Yeah. Did I miss something?
Probably. Who knows? Is there anything else? Anything else you that you'd like to share or toss out that you go? How long? So tell me about the community, the church that you attend. Relentless Pursuit.
Relentless Pursuit.
Pursuit. Okay.
Yes.
And by the way, the link to Relentless Pursuit will be in the description. The link to their website and their YouTube channel will be there, so because I looked it up again and I was intrigued. I loved their statements. They said some very things that resonated with me there.
Awesome.
Did you find it together, you two? Did you? What brought you there?
Actually, Reinhardt went to play a live show in Dubai, and I was here alone. I didn't feel up to traveling at the time because we had a little bit of a dodgy flight in Thailand, and and then I just needed a bit of a break from flying. And then I met an old friend of mine who used to go to our previous church with us in the street on my way back from the shop, and she was like, what are you doing tonight? And I said, I'm just going to be at home. Reinhardt's gone. And then they said, well, there's a worship evening at our church. It was a Friday night. Come and join us. And then I thought, well, why not? And then I went there, and it was just, I I was immediately just amazed at how much space there was for the Holy Spirit to move, because it wasn't structured, it wasn't timed, it was long, and nobody was rushing it, and the worship was flowing freely. People were singing in the Spirit and singing from the heart, and there were easels with paint and canvases if you felt you wanted to express yourself in that way. And I was just drawn to the creativity that they exercise, and the manner that they were operating in the gifts of the Spirit, speaking in tongues and the things that you don't see that often. And also just that's where it started. And then when Reinhardt got back, I just said to him that, like, I went to this church and it really was amazing. Do you want to go with me and see and check it out? And
Yeah, so this was when we were transitioning from our previous church in the same area.
yeah,
We just felt like our time and season was over there.
it was also, our previous church was an amazing church. Like,
Yeah, no, it was great.
we see that church as like a well.
Yeah, that's
where
where it
we
started.
just drew and we just like got
Right.
filled and healed. So it was an amazing like part of our life, but we just felt that God was calling us into a new direction already.
Another season,
and then,
like you said, yeah.
A
And then
wild
this
season.
happened. Yeah.
A wild season.
And then we went there, and like that day we were both just convicted about so many things, and
yeah,
we both just after church sat in the car, chatted to each other, and we were both in tears because like stuff just came out. And that's when we realized that this is where we need to be right now.
yeah.
And the church is just, it's amazing. The teachings that they teach are hard. Like, most
been
people don't want to
challenged.
hear it. And
I like that. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why our church is still very small, but we believe that there's going to be a big, like growth is coming. But it's because the messages that are being taught can offend people easily. So one thing we've learned is just don't get offended. Like, these things, it's just we've experienced so much growth in this church, and these people are just wild. They're just wild for Jesus. It's just they're all just abandoned, and they don't care what it looks like, it's these people have just abandoned themselves unto the Lord, and I don't see that very often, and very so we're just like in love with these people at the moment, and the church and their vision and their heart, and we're really enjoying it for now, like in this season of our life. They've become like family, and
full on.
That's brilliant. I like the challenging, because that's what I end up doing here. And if there are times where I go, okay, I know what I'm going to say, just tick somebody off or do the deal, or I'll say it and I'll go, oh, I just poked a hornet's nest, and I do that. But I agree that sense that you're speaking, that that they're tough messages and things we need to hear and we need to respond to. I don't need a feel good message. There is time to nurture, make somebody feel good. I'm not saying that, but to constantly go to church and just get the feel good message, it doesn't grow us. It doesn't stretch us. It doesn't take us to another season. And
and obviously we obviously stand by the word for word experience, but obviously you can't go and twist the word, obviously. So it's been really just also testing the spirits as God commanded us to test the spirits. So we also went through a trial of testing, and also just and then just humbling ourselves, and obviously, as Mandie said, not get offended, and really just seeking the Lord with everything. And it's been great.
That's brilliant.
Just what the Lord is taking us through now is just devotion. Just how our devotion unto Him will, just that for us right now, that is what we're working on, and what He's journeying with us on.
And that's I'm having a discussion with a gentleman about that issue where we have you get the saved Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory golden ticket belief thought process, right? Of which we're not, right? And the other part is I believe it's 100% commitment. Devotion is a great word. God is all in. He's in 100%. Am I willing to match his 100% in my devotion to him, right?
Yeah.
And in that, what does that look like? Like you said, it's devotion. It's how committed am I to him? How committed am I to him? And he's going, okay, I'm committed to you and my people. So what's that going to look like? So my face is going to turn a little bit and it's going to face his community and say how committed I am to that community. And you are engaged in a community that's committed to each other, that's willing to talk about tough subjects, things that you want to discuss and do that, and realize that they can do this in a nurturing, safe environment is what I like to call it, where you can go through those things and we can struggle through this together and agree to disagree sometimes because it'll happen.
Definitely.
But
Of course.
that we see that. So and so I assume you've had a chance to play there as well. I assume are you engaged twofold? Like are you just in I want this to sound right. Are you just in the pew or do you sometimes engage in the music as well? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So our pastor has been kind of saying a few times that he wants us to lead worship together on our own. And we've kind of not really done it yet, but that's on us. But we've just been slotting into the band that they have. So I've been singing, Reinhardt's playing cello and some drums sometimes. So we're just enjoying serving with the other people because we're always doing our own thing. So it's also just nice to slot into the worship band and like connect with those people, and they're amazing musicians. Like
there's some
amazing,
crazy good musicians in the band and in the church. But it's
right.
Yeah, so we've just been we're definitely involved, but not doing our own thing that much, more slotting into the church the worship team that they have.
Actually, Daniel Peters, I don't know if you've seen one of his videos on my latest album, Arise, Let Go, and a new song.
Right, he's the guitarist next to you. Right,
He's one of the worship leaders, I would say.
Gotcha.
You get the pastor, which is the main worship leader, and you get him.
Okay.
They're like the top.
Yeah.
It is nice to be able to, like you said, connect as a group, not put that pressure, that mantle back on you. Say, well, you're obviously this, so you need to be the worship leader. It's like, no, I'd like to be part of the community, part of the band, part of the music, part of that worship. And what I bring enhances that. In other words, with Mandie, with your voice, Reinhardt, with your instruments, add to that. And it just adds to a fullness that helps in that. And I applaud you for that manyfold. So that's brilliant. And that's the exciting story that I think needs to be told. That's our accounting to me. The witness is our lives. So what are you doing with your life? And you've shared it. And it's like, that's brilliant. And then God gets to work with that. And the music that you can produce is fantastic. So let's segue to there. So your viral video, how long had you been together? And Reinhardt, didn't you call this the prayer? Isn't that what you called it? Okay.
Yes.
And so why do you call it the prayer? And what, boy, that's a brilliant, strong title, because that's like, I give it to God, and what's he do with it? That almost that essence in the tabernacle where he says that the incense from the frankincense burning that goes up is that prayer lifting up to him, and then he gets to respond in that way. So how did it happen? And why do you think it went viral?
Good question. Very good question. So actually thinking about it now, I should have called the Lord's Prayer. But the song that I sing in the, well, it was actually just an improvisational piece. The whole day, that whole day it was very interesting because we recorded, I think, about 6 videos, 6 to 7 videos that day. And all those videos, it just, something happened that day. There was something special about the day. And on this one spot, this one afternoon, in 2 sets, we recorded the whole album Movement 2. And then from all those live...
Hold on, I lost you. I hope you're coming back. Don't go anywhere.
This piece, which I called Prayer.
Right.
Yeah, so on this originally improvisational piece, I just sang the Lord's Prayer. Your kingdom come, your will be done. Yeah, I sang... I have to go listen to it again and see what I...
Uh-oh. I lost you. Okay, go. So,
yes.
So yeah, technical difficulties. If you saw a blank screen, people, and then you're back, we're back. So continue.
So yeah, I'm just gonna continue. Basically, I just sang the Lord's Prayer through this through the song. It was birthed from a complete spontaneous moment, and yeah, so that's why I just afterwards I was thinking, what can I call this? The prayer, because this is a prayer. This whole, every time I play, whether it be at busking at the waterfront or in Berlin on the streets, or may it be at a gig or a theater gig, whatever it is, I'm always at a place where I want to project just to give God glory. And sometimes it's really hard because there's obviously a direct struggle, a spiritual darkness that's almost, I would say, trying to keep my mouth shut.
Right.
Because we're fighting against the principality, which is, he's got power over the air. It literally says he's got power over the air.
Right.
So it's just breaking that air, just clearing that air, and just really just worshiping God in whatever moment it is. And sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes it's like, oh, it's just this release. I played a gig the weekend past, and I felt the spiritual attacks on me like I have probably never felt before. After that gig, I said it was my worst gig ever, and everybody looked at me like, no, that was great, that was awesome, we didn't see anything really bad happening. But I mean, like my hardware, the actual hardware units just malfunctioned. They were like flickering on and off, and it's like it was crazy. So but anyway, yeah, so the spiritual attacks are real. And
I just want to add something. I think on that day where the viral videos were recorded, I think there was definitely like a strong anointing upon Reinhardt's music that day, because it was just, yeah, he played the same kind of music that he always played, but there was just something else. Like you could just feel it. Like people were crying. It was just different.
That was my question. Was it? Did you? So you just said it that there was an additional audience response that was, something more.
Yeah. And everyone could feel it. Like we were all. It felt like we were all connected. Like in our hearts in that moment. It was just beautiful. Yeah.
And it's so fascinating because in that mix, you have believers and unbelievers. You have people, right? So if it's the joyful noise, if it's God's joyful noise that he talks about, then that's what they're going to hear. Whether they're going to respond to it or not is a different story. But I believe God's voice is heard the same across. It's what people choose to respond to and do that. And so that's brilliant. And you did a great job of capturing it. and then getting it up, and then it's like the blessing video. In other words, there are these moments in time that are captured in our time. Don't you wonder what it would have been like to have a video and had Paul had a YouTube channel or something? You know, where that would be controversial to say the least.
Yeah.
But in this point where those moments in time that are captured, like in Scripture, those are, when you think about it, like it's a letter to a group. How many letters did he write? And yet we get to witness through the letters those moments in time, right? So when you capture your moments in time, like you do in this particular one, I don't know if the word more special than others are, but there's definitely something else. And you get to do that. And that is, and if it's nothing more than a nudge that blesses you, one, in the reaction, two, the trickle effect, I call it that like the butterfly effect, who it affects when they leave and the families that it touched and what they did and what it's done globally. And then the practical aspect where God gets to bless you financially with that is an encouragement and a preparation to continue, you know, where he says, I'll take care of your needs, that there's people that do that and how that plays out. So that's brilliant. So that said, let's play that video that we were just talking about, and you all can see and hear what we've been talking about, and hopefully it'll affect you the way we've been talking about, right? So here it goes.
Thanks a lot, guys.
So thanks. Reinhardt and I have been gabbing in the green room off this, and I asked him a question because the shofar is part of his music. If you go back and look at this stuff, especially you'll hear the shofar, you'll see the shofar in his videos, and you know that it's important to us. And so I asked him a question. I said, "So tell me a little bit about how the shofar came into your music." And then he has a wonderful story about somebody blowing a shofar. So first tell me how it came in, and then we need to hear that story again about the blowing. So
the shofar, my dad got gifted the shofar through a lady, a prophetic prophet lady, he said. I forgot her name. They were at a location in South Africa on the coast, Western Cape, and they were standing on this edge of this cliff. It's long story short, at this specific point, it's got a lot of spiritual significance. And then they blew the shofar, and the sky opened up. This is what my dad told me. The sky, cloudy sky, opens up, shone a light down on them and on the ocean. And they, while they were blowing the shofar, the whales actually came out and responded back. And this exact same shofar, I was at this exact same location, and I was doing about a 10-day fast. And I don't know how it happened. I just told my dad, this shofar is coming with me. And I experimented with the shofar. I put it on a didgeridoo, and I started blowing this. I don't know how I got the idea, honestly. I just put this thing on the didgeridoo. It fit so well. It looked crazy. It was this long pipe with this horn on the end, and I started blowing it, and I got so many different notes out of it that I was like, I just had so much fun blowing the shofar. The one day I was just driving back home, and I stopped, and there was like this herd of sheep, and I just stopped next to the road, and I started blowing the shofar with all these notes, and they just came to me, close to me, and they just all stared at me. It was quite a fun experience. But yeah, that's how the shofar actually came in. And then one day I just decided this thing is too long and too bulky, and I just took the shofar off, and I started blowing the shofar, and I got a lot of notes still out of it, which I didn't get before. And I was like, okay, this shofar is coming with me. And I took the shofar to Germany. I took the shofar Dubai, Cyprus, to everywhere I go. I just took the shofar, even to Thailand. And for me, this exact shofar still got it, still going everywhere pretty much. And yeah, I'm loving it.
It's a beautiful sound, and it's biblical history has it, and I believe there's an element of God's voice in it. Definitely. But I also believe it's only have an element of God's voice in it if a person breathing God's breath speaks it. Does that make sense? So, because people can blow air through a shofar, but a person that is expressing want to express the will of God through the shofar, I believe it has an additional resonance and additional element in its breath that causes what you're talking about. The shofar is an amazing piece, and not a cheap plug, but in the description is also a link to Reinhardt's shofar giveaway. He has a I just wanted to mention that because the shofar is good, and it's in the description, and because he's doing a shofar giveaway. You go in and you basically get an album and a ticket to the shofar giveaway. And I listened and saw the first one. So trust me, folks, it's very real. And somebody's a very excited and happy person. And the shofars are absolutely stunning, absolutely brilliant. And you said your dad puts the bell ends on them?
Yes. So he modifies them a little bit. Let me show you this one here.
Yeah.
He basically, obviously, puts let me get it in frame for you. So he modifies it with this bell. It gives the shofar a lot of volume, loudness, and then he puts pretty much anything he puts on the shofar itself, and then the mouthpiece is also a little bit modified to give you a different kind of tone to the traditional shofar.
It's beautiful. That one has a rise on it. The other one had Jerusalem on it. That was, again, absolutely stunning, beautiful. It's interesting when you add the various sounds. I have a point. Let me see if this is going to show up on this or not. Where is it? And it's not on this one. Oh, okay. It's on the other one. You had a gent. What did he say? Oh, he said, it was a comment on one of your videos, and he said, "This is not a song; it's a story." And it was a very, to me, when I read it, it resonated with me, and two, I agree. I've used your music in an analogy similar to what I do with tapestry, in that God's song has been played from Eden till Zed. Okay, whenever Zed is at the end, right? So from Adam to Zed, this song's been playing, and instruments come in and out, sounds come in and out. There are steady beats that are necessary, and there are ones with crescendo. There's ones with boldness, and then there's subtle thing. And so if you think I'm not important because I'm subtle, or I'm only there for a short time, I think if you listen to his music, you're going to hear that the subtle short time is just as important to the story as is the big bold notes, and that steady beat in between, that hard worker, that person is just there working, plodding along, is critical to that story and that music. And that's what I get out of the tapestry point and your music and song, and how you weave those sounds together is brilliant to me.
Thank you. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. Do you have a thought when you go in of where you want the music to go? Sometimes when you start, you say, these where I like strings, is where I like this, da 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 da. I assume every once in a while you get the deal, I want to pick this up, as long as it's within the range of what you have laid out. But
so I get before, obviously inspiration is a big drive to just start creating. And I listen to, for instance, an artist that I listen to a lot, Tony Anderson,
right?
When I listen to his music, or any music that inspires me, I get this surge of inspiration. And I don't necessarily go and plan the songs, because this was a very big lesson I had from my latest album, Arise, which you'll see I did a little short film, and in the short film I kind of explained this concept where I was struggling to record this album. I didn't know how to start, so I was overthinking it. Not everybody have this improvisational journey for them. I'm talking specifically about musicians.
Right.
But for me, this is a personal revelation, and I believe calling to really tap into the spontaneous creation moments of a song. So basically, just for example, in the beginning of this album, I was struggling with this particular song. I was trying to plan it. I was making it structured. I was going through recording, and if I just make a little mistake, I would stop and I'd get a little bit frustrated, because now I'm on the 10th, 11th try. And then I think around about, I don't know how many tries it was, I got it done, and I was finally it's done. And I felt so relieved and almost exhausted from just one song. And I listened back to it a while, and I'm oh no, something is off. Something was I don't know what happened. One of the instruments got detuned, and I was just no ways, this is not going anywhere. And I just went outside and I just asked God, how do you want to record this album? What do you want me to do? Because this is not working. And I just clearly felt him say, just go in and record. Just press record. Don't
just
even
play.
He's literally just don't even think about the chord. Don't even think about the chord progression. Don't even think about anything. obviously I had to set the tempo, because the
Right.
tempo I need to play to a certain click track for the whole project to create.
Right.
So I just
Right.
set a tempo. I didn't think about it. Set the tempo, and I started playing. And literally in one take, without even thinking about it, the first song just got recorded. The song is called Peace on the new album Arise. And the reason why I called it Peace was just like, it just gave me peace. The song reminded me of peace. It was just this, I just had to approach this thing with peace and complete spontaneous, just trusting God's got it. And obviously, if I make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. You just try again. But literally after that, I was like, okay, wow, there's a song. And I was like, okay, let's try it again. And I went to the next one. And then, boom, another song was recorded. So I was like, huge revelation. And I mean, I've been going through a journey of, probably 7 years now that I've been really tapping into improvisational music. But now it's just really like, it's just, God is taking me deeper and deeper and deeper into this revelation. And it's just also this allowing the Holy Spirit to move, because yes, we can, as humans, we can plan things and do things our way, like very structured, almost like church services.
Control. Yeah. I agree.
It's like
control. Right.
You got like 15 minutes worship, and then 5 minutes of intro, and then this and this and this and this, and we expect the Holy Spirit, to
fit in the gaps. To
fit in our gaps. So for me, it's just really like getting to a point where it's like, okay, Holy Spirit, you are the producer, and I promise you, so many times, especially after this album and after so many songs, I do the mixing and mastering, and sometimes I do it and I don't even think about it that much, and afterwards I'm like, it's almost like I didn't do this, but it's sounding amazing, but I didn't do this, and then I'm really like, okay, by faith I believe God is part of this creation, and the mixing and the mastering and everything revolving around it. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey. So this whole album was recorded like that. And also this new song, you'll play it just now, the Eyes of God. We literally had one take. Mandie wasn't even happy with the original take, and we were like, you know what? Let's just leave it and see if we afterwards, when we get home, we'll work on it. And that's what came out. And I was like, this is awesome. And it was one try, one take. There was I didn't even know what she was playing. I was like trying to figure out what chord progressions while we're playing what she's playing. So it was interesting. But I mean, this is not to say that everybody should follow this way. I mean, there's beautiful worship songs that's constructed carefully in the quiet, secret place with God, laid down, written lyrics, beautiful stuff. And I'm not saying the Holy Spirit is not part of that. I'm just saying there's so many aspects of songwriting and song worship that there's no boundaries for God. So,
no, that's exactly it. And we're the ones that struggle with control, because we like control. And I think that's our original brokenness. In other words, I think that's that I said, no, God, I got this, and it's like, should be the other way around. Or I should say, no, God, you got this, and please use me and take me along for the ride. And then I get to see that. Like you said, when you look back and you're done and you go, oh my gosh, God, that was brilliant. And not sometimes not what you expected, because we do oft go in with expectations, on that. So
it's almost like speaking in tongues. It's like you do it without effort, without you do it in faith, obviously, and you speak it, but you don't know what you're saying, and there's no effort into it. But the Bible says that you're praying the perfect will of God over your life, which we cannot do with. We can do it with English words, but I mean, it's just it's not always 100%. So
Right.
for me, I just had this revelation with song creation as well. It's almost like speaking in tongues. It's almost like, I wouldn't say effortless, but it's like just trusting God, and in faith, you're releasing this and believing. Yeah. And it's interesting.
Brilliant. I love it. And I wish more of us in that joyful noise thought process, in that deal, what other elements in our lives are we willing to let God drive the choo-choo train, right? And manage that.
Yeah.
So and your music reflects that. So speaking of that, this is The Eyes of God, the latest video release. The scenery, people, is stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. And then the music just enhances the scenery. So let's enjoy the video, Eyes of God. one of the benefits that that I have on this show is the interview is that while those video clips are being played, the green room, I get to talk with the guest. I guess the downside is that we still hear the audio you're hearing, so we have to talk over it, which means we're both hollering at each other. But at the same time, we get to have some very engaging conversations, which are really cool. And we were just talking about music's influence globally and its impact, both for good and for evil, as our phrase was, and where you used Justin Bieber as a comment point, where his videos seen 20 billion times, and there's 8 billion in the world. So yeah, the whole globe has seen his videos times 3, right? And it's one of those impactful moments that we have. I made the statement that music at times is more powerful than the bullet, because the bullet's reserved for war. Granted, we have shootings in cities. Hard for me to debate that that's not a war, but another scenario. But music's impact in peacetime makes it sound like, oh, this is okay because it's peacetime, and it's not. And your point's very clear with that happens. It's interesting with music for me. I think about what we have. Have you ever heard there's a point in a movie, they'll make this point, they'll say, somebody, blah, 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 has forgotten more than I'll ever know. They're referring to an older gentleman, an older lady, and they'll go, they've forgotten more than I will ever know in their age. And I wonder if music, because picture David was a master musician, and he wrote, and I'll say more along your genre of music, meaning it wasn't written down. It wasn't Chopin, Handel, Mozart, type of music that was written down to be played, and how they expressed their music. But David, more like you, where he's conveys this to the musicians to play, and then they play it, and he puts words to it. In other words, because interesting to see is how many times does David have music play that has no words? But it's not going to be in the Bible, because it's not going to be in the Psalms, because there's no words, right? But so much of that music is lost that we don't have. Or I don't know if the word's lost as more, okay, it affected their time and space, right? And where they were, where you are affecting this time and space. Yeah?
Sure.
We seem to do that. This we're talking about like his choice of music and instruments and pieces and the choices that we make. And he said sometimes it's what the Spirit drives me to do. And he only drives. Now this is interesting. So I want to ask a question. Have you ever played something that you didn't know you could play? In other words, like maybe a note or chord progression that you didn't believe was possible, and it played? Or is it a mixture of God builds up a little knowledge and then it gets expressed, and he builds up a little knowledge and it gets expressed? Do you understand what I mean when I do the difference with those?
Yes.
Okay.
No, there's definitely, especially as I said before, with this new album, there's parts that when I sit back and I listen to them, like this melody, the way that I play it, I'm trying to figure out how did I play that, and chord progressions as well, that I sit back and I listen to, and I'm like, how did this? Then I'm actually deconstructing my own music, because that music was created in a moment. There was no planning, there was no pre-planning, there wasn't any meditation upon that music. So when that music was created, afterwards I kind of forgotten about it. It's almost like a dream. You need to write it down. Luckily I recorded it. So if I listen back to my music, especially because it's improvisational, you didn't put a lot of time and effort into the writing process, so it's not so imprinted into your brain. I listen to a lot of old albums as well, and I'm like, yo, wow, how did I do that? How did I do that? Yeah, it's really fun, and I believe again, in the spontaneous moments, God does release stuff that we've never played before. And I believe music, the essence of it is, I mean, if you look at the book of Psalms, it's quite it's quite full of it. And I
yes,
mean,
it is.
I don't know where you got this this specific joyful noise verse from, but I believe it's from my favorite Psalm 33 verse 3. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I
Go
was
ahead and quote
thinking,
it.
maybe, yeah, sing unto him a new song, play skillfully with a loud noise. So yeah, I really love the whole Psalm 33. It's I'll probably make a song just out of this psalm.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. Yeah, and I mean, it says we have to play skillfully. Obviously, we need to have skill. It literally says that, and I believe when David played the harp for Saul, the demons left him. So there is so many times that I've seen that music touches people. I have a lot of testimonies on email and comments that people responded back and said, literally unbelievers that don't know the Lord, that got either healed, they got either they continuously listen to the music because it takes away the pain, or it takes away the depression, or it gives them joy. And obviously that gives me an opportunity to share to them where this music is coming from. And it's not me, it's God doing the work. I'm just the vessel playing. But yeah, I'm probably going off topic here now. But
No. That's
just
that touch where the touch gets
yeah.
over. But see, now what you just shared is what I'm trying to teach some people through and go through is that, like, picture your music is your life. In other words, you're living the life and it's playing, right? And then it touches people, and then they turn and ask you about it, and then you give your accounting, your testimony, your witness. This is what this does. This is where God has involved himself in my life and what he's done. So the music is life. And then when you come and ask me about it, because there are those who listen to music who will never talk to you, and you get that, and that's fine. But for those that take the time that it has touched and they have gotten back with you, and I've read the comments and there's where it's touched their lives and it's brought, like you said, healing and pain relief, and that in that because God's touching them. And you're saying that God I have a relationship with, and we can talk about it sometime. And you hear that, and I've heard you say that on your life stuff, and I love it. And I think that that's an important element to your music and what you do. And I encourage you to keep doing it the same way. So, with that and with growth allowed, obviously, of course, I do that. And I'm looking forward to following you. And I hope we get to have you on again down the road a bit and find out where else we've been and where else we've traveled. And
for sure.
What else you've done.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I'm at this process, I'm working on a new video, as always, on a few, but I'm really excited about this one coming. I'm obviously not going to disclose everything because it's not confidential. It's just I find I'm usually better at completing tasks before I share it to everybody.
There you go.
Once you share a task, when it's not done, it's almost like you get that satisfaction about getting something done, which is not really true.
Right, because it's not done,
So, but I'm really excited about this one. And it's like I've been busy with it for probably like 2 months now, like just downloading every like word, and it's going to be a short film about just like it's gonna be something I've never done before, not even close. It's like, and it's going to be music involved, but it's more going to be God's message to our future.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to have it on the show for sure. I'll play it because I know you're going to do it. If we can do it, and I'll have you on, or we'll figure something out with that. But as a minimum, I'll make sure that it makes it on the show because that's important. These are those elements, those words spoken. And what the joyful noise, like I said, the joyful noise is more than, we're talking with Mandie, it's more than just notes. It's sign language, it's dance, it's flags, it's movement, it's all those things that are joyful noise. Because if you think that God only hears banging on a drum or a toot of a horn, I think you're mistaken, because I guarantee you the deaf and the blind speak, especially the deaf with sign language, speak volumes, and their joy is abundant. You don't hear it, but God does. And they get a chance to feel it when yours play. And I absolutely love that. So now let me cut off and go to our outro stuff. So we'll kick out here. Stay online though. Stay. Folks, Reinhardt Buhr, all the links, and we'll talk about this in a second in the description below. Thank you for being on the show, and thanks for sharing your bride with us. Tell her again we appreciate her time, and I hope she recovers from. Sometimes you just get tired. Yeah, it's a long day, and life is what it is. And in case you all don't realize, it's now after 11 o'clock at night there, so it's late. So it's late in South Africa. So thank you for staying up and talking to us.
For us,
thanks again.
For us, it's early.
There you go. That's right. That's right. You said that's right. You're going, okay, you're just there. For me, I'd be way past my bedtime, right? So there you go. So thanks for being, we'll be back. So thanks for hanging with us on the Dusty Feet. This was a brilliant show. I know it was a little long, but well worth it. Next week, if the studio gets set up in the new apartment that we're going to get, which I hope it will. So it'll be next week. Worst case scenario will be the week after is our homework series, right? So go watch the video, Jesus and the Torah. It's the Matthew series from Tim Mackey with the Bible Project. Go look at it. That link is on TheDustyFeet.com. All the links to all the things we've been talking about are in the description. So click away for the album, for the clips we did, to go to Reinhardt's site, all kinds of cool stuff. It's all there, and enjoy that. Everything that we have is also on the Dusty Feet, including the homework links. So the homework links are on TheDustyFeet.com. Send me an email, bob@TheDustyFeet.com, or if you have a question, questions@TheDustyFeet.com, and drop us a note. Thanks for hanging with us. I know it was long, but boy, was that well worth it. Enjoy the joyful noise, and thanks for being with us again on the Dusty Feet.